Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video, and this is another basketball slash JxmyHighRoller reaction, and it's been a few days to be fair, but it's actually, this video was only posted, it was posted yesterday, but I think it was within like the last 12 hours or so. I mean, I think it was like in like 10 hours ago, so it was very recently. And yeah, from now, I'm going to try and keep on whenever he posts, and this video is LeBron James was robbed again, or was he? And the thumbnail of this was from the video that I saw at the end of one of the Lakers games, I think. And it was basically an interview of him pretty pissed that he didn't win the MVP award and Giannis did. And I wasn't too sure, cause I mean, I saw a lot of people say that like before like even sort of the bubble started, people were sort of predicting Giannis to win the MVP. But then obviously LeBron will have his own opinions and some people will think he deserved it, but I wasn't too sure whether he was in the right for thinking that or anything else. So I just sort of took it like as it was. But then I did want to look into it, and I did want to see like whether he actually had a case to why he was pissed off and why he thought he deserved the award. And I feel like out of everyone, JxmyHighRoller is probably the best to sort of help me understand maybe he was right or maybe he was wrong for that. But let's check this out anyway. I mean, whenever he posts, it's always a good video, and I'm just here to sort of enjoy his reactions. But hopefully you guys go on to enjoy. If you hear like thunder in the background or like just rain, it's really, really hard rain today and it's freezing cold. It's crazy. Like a week ago it was like 25 degrees and now it's like 8 degrees. Within a week it just changes. And yeah, man, I mean, winter's coming, but let's check this out and see what Jimmy has for us, man.
This past week, Giannis Antetokounmpo won his second NBA MVP. Only the 12th player in league history to win the award in back-to-back seasons. And only the 3rd player to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season.
That's kind of wild.
Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan as the only players to accomplish this feat. A player to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. Joining Hakeem Olajuwon history to win the award in back-to-back seasons. And only the 3rd player to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. Joining Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan as the only players to accomplish this feat.
I mean, he's mid-20s. He's still got like 10 years at least in his career, probably longer. And he's already like matching these greats in these sort of circumstances. It's ridiculous when you think about it, man.
At only 25 years old, Giannis has ascended to all-time levels. But after an ugly second-round exit in this year's playoffs, there has been furious backlash by many NBA fans saying Giannis did not deserve the MVP and that LeBron James was robbed of the award. At face value, this sounds like a decent argument. I mean, one of them is at home watching the playoffs and the other is pushing violently towards his 4th championship.
Good point.
But how much truth is there to this bold claim? Was LeBron James really robbed of his 5th MVP? Or was Giannis truly the most valuable player in the NBA this season? Today's video is brought to you by...
Get your money, bro. But I'll skip that.
The link in the description and get an extra $5 bonus when you take your first survey. Thank you, Swagbucks, for sponsoring today's video.
Swagbucks, what a name.
Now, first I want to show you guys something very interesting. A chart. I know. Big surprise.
Another chart?
So, here are the top 100 players in the entire NBA, with player efficiency rating on the x-axis and real box plus minus on the y-axis. 2 advanced stats that give some perspective to how productive, efficient, and valuable players are. The further up and the further right, the better. As you can see, most players fall down here. This isn't bad or anything. Keep in mind, only 1 in 4 players even make this chart. As you go up, you'll begin to see outliers. And
so this chart is sort of like the best of the best. I say the best of the best, 1 in 4. But like these are all like very, very good players.
As you go further, you get into superstar territory. Kawhi, Jokic, Harden, and way at the top, in his own stratosphere, is LeBron James. The man who was apparently robbed of this year's MVP. Is there. So, where's Giannis? Right about here.
Jesus.
So far above his competition, you would think he had a perfect regular season.
That is insane.
And that's because he nearly did. This season, Giannis led the league in field goals, defensive rebounds, PER, defensive rating, defensive win shares per 48, box plus minus, and defensive box plus minus.
Fucking hell.
All of this while carrying the Bucks to the best record in the NBA and averaging 29, 14, and 6 again. The only other player to put up numbers like this in the last 35 seasons was a peak Shaquille O'Neal. Because Giannis's regular season was so good that rather than comparing him to other players this year, a more appropriate comparison would be to all-time historic seasons. Giannis finished the regular season with the 9th highest box plus minus of all time, the 8th highest defensive box plus minus of all time, and the highest player efficiency rating in the history of the NBA.
Yo, what the fuck?
His record that stood for nearly 60 years.
He's broken a 60-year record. See, that is absolutely insane. Is Wilt Chamberlain? I'm looking to see if like Wilt Chamberlain's on here for like any of these other ones. Can't see him for NBA, ABA leaders for the first one. Second, nah. So like, I mean, Wilt Chamberlain's record, he was insane in that area, but the other sort of areas he wasn't there, which goes to show how ridiculous that Giannis really was. But that's crazy, a 60-year record.
For perspective, no other player in the entire league cracked any of these lists this season. So, what do LeBron's numbers look like compared to Giannis? Well, despite LeBron having an incredible 17th season, Giannis beats him in points per game, rebounds per game, blocks per game, true shooting percentage, and led his team to more wins. But we all know these numbers aren't great indicators.
Oh, Giannis had more team wins. See, it's easy to forget how good the Bucks were during the regular season because they just got sort of spun by the Heat. But I didn't initially know
players'
that.
Impact. So what about some of the more advanced stats? Well, Giannis tops LeBron in just about every single one of those as well. His game isn't the prettiest. He doesn't have any true skill set to fall back on. But the MVP award, and I cannot stress this enough, is a regular season award. And in this year's regular season, Giannis was about as unstoppable as any player has ever been. We already know what he's going to do when his 7-foot frame comes barreling down the court, and yet no one was able to do anything about it. You try to stick him with a big man, and Giannis is way too quick and athletic to guard. You try to stick him with a smaller defender, we all know how that goes. The MVP award is given to the player with the best regular season, not the best player in the league. But the most common knock circulating about Giannis' second MVP is that he didn't show up when it mattered most in the playoffs, so he can't possibly be the most valuable.
See, that is a good point, but again, like, that isn't the regular season, so I can see both arguments. Like, during the regular season, his stats, I mean, anything. I mean, I wasn't there to witness all the games apart from in the bubble, but his stats alone are just mind-boggling. And again, I know during the playoffs he probably wasn't as effective, and I know for certain games he actually was like given the blame for certain things, but that's not the MVP from what I'm seeing and everything that's being said is a regular season thing, so you can't really base it off that.
Player. And although there is some truth to this statement, this is simply not how the award works. NBA Talks on Instagram conducted an interesting experiment seeing who would have gotten the MVP if the award included the postseason. He looked at the last 20 seasons and replaced the actual MVP with who he felt would have gotten the award if their playoff performance was taken into consideration. With a few adjustments of my own, this is what that list looks like. Of the last 20 seasons, only 8 of the actual MVP winners would have won the award if it included the playoffs. 8. For example, in the 2016-2017 regular season, Russell Westbrook won the MVP, and his team nearly got swept in the first round of the playoffs.
Okay, that's kind of insane.
Dirk Nowitzki won the MVP and then got bounced out of the first round by an overachieving Warriors team. Now,
fucking hell. I don't know if you can hear that a lot, but Jesus Christ.
Do I agree with all of the MVP winners over the last 20 seasons? No. There are a few MVP awards that were given out strictly because of the narrative, and we all know how much the media loves a good narrative, but not this one. Giannis earned this MVP based off of merit, and believe it or not, value. So the main problem here is that fans view the regular season MVP as an award that covers both the regular season and the playoffs, when in reality, the playoffs are a different season altogether. This is why regular season stats and playoff stats are completely separated. This is why the voting for regular season awards is completed before the playoffs even begin. This is why there is literally an MVP award specifically for the playoffs. If you want to make the argument that the postseason should be factored in when voting for the MVP, well then that's a completely separate argument. At that point, you are changing the criteria for the award. And although I can see the arguments, there is a reason why the regular season MVP award is completely separated from the playoffs. In some cases, the most valuable player can provide immense value to a team, but that doesn't necessarily translate to them being a top contender. In the 1987-1988 season, Michael Jordan racked up the highest win share total in modern NBA history of 21.2, which means MJ was single-handedly responsible for 43% of the Bulls' wins that season. He was by far the most valuable player that year, and he rightfully received the award. So what was the result for this historic season for Michael and his team? A second-round exit and a gentleman's sweep to the Detroit Pistons. Was Isaiah Thomas more valuable than Michael Jordan that season? The Lakers went on to win the championship. So was Magic Johnson more valuable than MJ that season? No, they weren't. But since Mike hadn't found the right situation yet, and since other teams were dominating the league that season, by the logic of some fans, Mike wasn't the most valuable player that season, just like how some fans are arguing Giannis was not the most valuable player this season. But he was. And it wasn't even close. And we haven't even discussed the quality of help Giannis and LeBron are getting respectively.
Good point.
This season, both LeBron and Anthony Davis made first-team All-NBA, a feat that hasn't happened since Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire did it back in 2007. But even more rare is the amount of times a player has won league MVP while playing with another first-team All-NBA teammate since the league expanded back in 1974. Here is the full list of duos to ever accomplish this feat. That's it. That's the whole list.
So I mean, he's got very good company, which is sort of the point that he's making. I mean, you can't take anything away from LeBron. He's been ridiculous this season, and in the playoffs, he's been an absolute joy to watch. Like, I love LeBron, but I do like how he's sort of making the argument as to why maybe his reasoning as to why he thinks he should have won it isn't fair.
He once, in 46 years, has a player won regular season MVP while playing alongside a first-team All-NBA teammate. So when you consider the numbers, the impact, the sheer dominance, the broken records, and the value, it becomes strikingly clear why Giannis won the MVP. To say that LeBron James was robbed would question the validity of nearly every regular season MVP ever won. This award does not care about the playoffs. It doesn't care about how pretty your game is or how deep your offensive bag is. Granted, it doesn't always go to the most deserving player. This season, the voters got it right. Giannis was far and away the most valuable player in the 2019-2020 NBA season, and his resume grows once again, now creeping towards levels only all-time greats have reached.
At
Hope
25.
you all enjoyed, and as always, until next time.
Bang of a video again, man. One thing that I do love about sort of... What's this? Oh, yes. Oh, that's the music that he uses. Oh, he always posts that, doesn't he? I really like how the NBA sort of do their awards, especially the MVP awards. Like, with soccer, there's a big issue with, like... Individual player awards will be based on, like, 30%, 30, 40, 50% on their sort of... their actual performances, so the goals they've scored, the assists, sort of like all the things they do. But then the other sort of half of it would be fully based on the team awards. So if they've won like the Champions League or the cup or the league title kind of thing. Like, if a player hasn't won any of those awards, or say it's like a World Cup season, if they've won the World Cup, if a player like say Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, they've had possibly one of the best seasons in their career. They'll score like 50 goals, 20 assists. And then some other player who's a good player, don't get me wrong, he's a very good player, sort of wins the World Cup or maybe the Champions League, whilst they've won maybe just a league title or maybe nothing. The award will probably be more likely to go to someone else who's won won sort of like a few sort of championships, and has still had a good season, but it's clear like their ability and their sort of performances weren't the same. It will always go to sort of the more successful in terms of team awards, not individual awards. So I do like the MVP as to how it sort of doesn't go to just sort of the player who's had good stats and had a very good season, but has also like probably been boosted a bit more compared to someone else because of the players around them, and maybe because like they've won something. But then again, there is like the finals MVP award as well, so that is sort of what that is based around. So I do like the sort of points that you made in this video, but I like how I like how American sports do these sort of awards, because it is so different to sort of European soccer. Me, LeBron was robbed this year. Jimmy, LeBron wasn't robbed this year. Me, LeBron wasn't. Whatever Jimmy says. I like that comment. Everyone else, yeah, that makes sense. Flight, yeah, he should be doing that. He's literally 91 foot. Fuck's sake. To rectify this problem, they need to just announce the awards as soon as the regular season is done. That is true, because I mean, this was done like what, a month after, or the award was like a month after the actual season finished, or the regular season finished. And I was like, why is this so long, like such a long wait? Because I can sort of see about recency bias. People will be seeing sort of LeBron's performances compared to Giannis's in the playoffs, and they'll be like, bro, LeBron has been so much better. And in the playoffs, LeBron has been ridiculous in the playoffs. But like, again, maybe if the playoffs hadn't have started and then they gave the award to whoever, like to Giannis or whoever else, maybe it would have been taken a lot better. That's a good point that he makes there. And I don't know why they don't do that. The most satisfying sentence ever. So I made a chart. The only problem is that they give the award during the playoffs instead of giving it before the playoffs. Yeah, I do see that a lot. Bucks failed Giannis. If I was a Bucks fan and he decided to leave, I would respect that. Just like LeBron to the Cavs when he gave them the championship. Jimmy shows a graph. Me, could you pan up already and show Giannis is the MVP? But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I mean, JxmyHighRoller with another banger of a video. But what are your guys' thoughts on this? I know there's going to be a lot of LeBron fans who probably think he deserved it. And again, I'm not here to argue against that, because some of the things he does, and maybe you can sort of take into context LeBron's age as to how like he's still performing at this level at his age, and maybe that's sort of like a point that you could make. But either way, I'm not complaining. At the end of the day, these are two incredible players. In terms of like all-time greats, LeBron is still top one or two, however you want to sort of rank MJ and LeBron. But Giannis is making his way up there, and I'm interested to see how his career pans out, because although he sort of struggled in the playoffs, and I'm guessing he has in the past, he's still got a bright future ahead of him. And he's got like 10 to 15 years at least. So I'm excited to see how his career goes. And the fact that he's already sort of equaling records, the likes of, was it Wilt Chamberlain and Michael Jordan? I think it was Wilt Chamberlain. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Or, who was? I think it was. Anyways, like them sort of records. He's going to records that they had in their career, and he's fucking like 6-7 years into his career, and he's already up there. It's ridiculous when you think about it. But hopefully you guys enjoy this reaction. Next time, like, subscribe, and peace.